Kia ora, my name is Robbie and I'm another white man behind a desk. This week we're talking about university. Yes, university, the beacon of intellectual advancement, and also the place where you have to drink other people's vomit if you want to live with them. Take your place in the world. There's no denying that university means different things to different people. If you're studying law, medicine or engineering, it might be a last-ditch effort to earn love and respect from your parents. If you're studying English or classics, you're probably too middle class to ever experience life, and you'd prefer to just read about it instead. And if you're doing marketing or philosophy, chances are your appointment with the careers advisor was at the end of the day, and they just wanted to go home. Similarly, politicians have long disagreed on what a university should be. To the Green Party, it's a Socratic orgy of ideas being passed around like a wet spliff. Or, in their words, primarily a public good. And to the National Party, it's a Milton Friedman-inspired, no-nonsense free market finishing school. Or as they put it, a chance for people to get the right education and training for their careers. And what does the Labour Party think? Well, as with all issues, we just have to assume it's somewhere in the middle of the other two. As a result, our university funding model has been cobbled together by various governments like a hot potato Frankenstein's monster, and they therefore have no right to be surprised that it has now embarked on a misunderstood, but nonetheless violent, rampage against its creator. Back in 1990, a free-spirited, long-haired larrikin called Phil Goff brought in student fees. The Nats jumped in a year later and tacked on the bums-on-seats funding model, where they decided to give universities cash based on how many students they had, which was a simple and foolproof way to keep universities focused on quality education, and definitely wasn't the reason they started furiously hoarding students like hungry hippos. And that's more good news for the students paying fees. More students graduating means that each degree is worth less. So the degree that your older sister got a few years ago for free is worth more than the one that cost you thousands of dollars. Cool, eh? And then Labour jumped in again, and the Clark government decided that maybe universities should actually contribute to society in a minimal token way. So they brought in the Performance-Based Research Fund, or PBRF, which meant that universities got more money if their research was good. So, by the time we got to 2017, 42% of a university's income came from the taxpayer for research and sheer volume of students, 30% came from university research, commercialization and other revenue, and 28% came from children who just finished high school. And now that Labour is making 3 years of tertiary education free for students by 2024, a large portion of that 28% will be shifted from students to taxpayers, including students. But while different governments have different ideas about how to give money to universities, what they've all agreed on is that universities should run as autonomous businesses complete with cartoonishly evil bosses, like Stuart McCutcheon, who earns around $3,000 a day as Vice-Chancellor of the University of Auckland, and literally has a PhD in torturing lambs to death. I know that sounds like something we made up as a metaphor for his management style, and I wish it was, but it's not. But whether or not they're run by a lamb torturer, universities just want what every business wants: to make money. On one hand, that gives them a degree of independence from the government, which is good. On the other hand, it means they really focus in on the things that make them money, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, unless, of course, the global market for human meat rises above $8,000 a head, in which case they would sell you in a heartbeat. A big source of cash for the universities is the government's bums-on-seats funding, which is why they spend so much money convincing people to do their courses. They don't care about dumb things like if university is right for you or if you can handle the debt. They literally just want you for your bum. Another big source of cash is international students, which is why they're willing to spend $1 million changing their name just to make it easier for foreigners to stumble across them in a cheeky late-night Google. And because they can get nearly twice as much government money for a STEM student than for an art student, they start focusing on attracting STEM students and stop focusing on giving a fuck about the arts, until eventually Auckland University of Technology University just starts firing dozens of people because they had the nerve to work in the humanities. And because things like libraries and theatres have the audacity to not make the university any money at all, they get rid of them. And sure, it's not like we're in some dystopia where our universities are burning books. But we are in a dystopia where they're shredding them. And then there are the things that not only don't make money, but have the sheer arrogance to cost the university money. What we in the business world call dead weight. They're things like ensuring your lecturers and tutors actually know how to teach, having class sizes smaller than 1,000 students, and not making students experiencing a mental health crisis wait 6 to 8 weeks for an appointment. Those things don't make the university money, so why would we do them? It's not like the government is giving them any money to do those things. Universities aren't required to spend a single dollar of government funding on improving teacher quality. Right now, we pretty much rely on universities being worried about their reputation to make sure they teach well. But only 2 of them require their new teachers to learn how to teach. And I bet you can't even tell me which 2. Which suggests that reputation might not be enough. We're not saying that universities shouldn't run like businesses. But businesses only do what they're financially incentivized to do. And right now, our government incentivizes them to churn out research and spend tens of millions of dollars on marketing. It's almost like the government doesn't know what they want to get out of university. Maybe it's time they went back to their careers advisor and figured it out.